Hello everyone, this is Void Spirit. I'm here to bring you guys amazing fanfiction that you will surely enjoy. But before we start, please subscribe and like the video for more amazing content. CH34. Confession: Hajime and Kaori were having a good time reuniting. The two were hugging, and happy that each other was okay. Kaori had stopped crying and Hajime was just stroking her head, but of course Kuki didn't like that. Fu. Kaori is really kind. She cries because of her classmate's survival. However, Nagumo killed a person who was not resisting. We need to talk about that. So does Rimuru. So Kaori, that is enough and you should stay away from Nagumo. Kuki spoke and several looks of recognize the situation were thrown at him, but even at such a moment Kuki was unable to consider Kaori's feelings. In fact, it could be because he did not want other people to touch Kaori. Wait, Kuki. It was Nagumo-kun and Rimuru-kun who saved us. How can you say that? Shizuku. Those people had already lost the will to fight. There was no point in killing them. So what Nagumo did is something I can't allow. Kuki, understand. First of all the classmates began to argue. Most sided with Shizuku, but Hyama's gang who didn't like Hajime supported Kuki. Kaori had already separated herself from Hajime's chest and was wiping away her tears. Suddenly a voice came up to shower everyone with cold water. What foolish people. Shall we leave Hajime? Yup, we can go now. Yes, they are really foolish. Especially that one over there. Shall we go, Rimuru-san? Yu spoke in an icy tone and made everyone shut up. Hajime agreed with her proposal and Sakura agreed with her words and even pointed out Kuki as the most foolish of all. Hajime agreed because he didn't want to talk to his former classmates that he didn't care about. He just wanted to talk a little more with Kaori, but he felt that the dungeon was not the best place to have a conversation. Rimuru was still standing around watching how things would unfold. As they realized that Hajime was leaving Kuki and the others stopped arguing and Kuki spoke. Stop. We're not done talking yet. I won't consider Nagumo as my companions if he doesn't state his intentions. By the way, who do you think you are? You guys can't go around calling people foolish. Kuki said something totally irrelevant and everyone was silent. The first to speak was Sakura. He must have some problem, right? If not, I recommend he stop talking shit. Sakura. I think we'd better just ignore him. Otherwise your patience won't hold up. Let's leave everything to Shizuku-chan. Rimuru said to leave everything to Shizuku. Actually, that's how it had been since school. Leave the troublesome Kuki with Shizuku Yagashi. Kuki was a little irritated by his words, but he didn't say anything. Shizuku had her hand on her forehead after hearing Kuki's words. Hajime sighed and said, Amanogawa. I neither care nor have any obligation to answer you, whose existence is a joke in many ways. However, I will explain to you why you seem to want to persecute me and my brother. Explain? Are you saying that I am wrong? I only said something obvious to one person. Hajime just ignored Kuki's response and continued. You can't fool me. What are you saying? You're not angry because we killed people. You're just uncomfortable seeing someone die. Yet you know that woman killed the knights and tried to kill you. That is why you are using the argument of killing someone who was not resisting as your main argument, isn't it? Kuki didn't answer and Hajime continued. Being forced to watch someone do things you can't do. Those are the reasons for your anger. You are only hiding it in the name of justice. You never change. Always interpreting the situation for your own convenience. You do it as naturally as you breathe. Rimuru said. Yo. You're wrong. Don't say something for your own convenience. It's true that you killed her. The reason Kuki got so angry was because Hajime and Rimuru had hit him in the face. He didn't like seeing someone die and he didn't like being saved either. He wanted to be a hero and not the one who was saved, but he wouldn't admit that. So he used the murder argument to attack Hajime and Rimuru. About my brother, you should thank him. He only killed that guy because he thought it would be dangerous for you if he stayed alive. About me. I killed my enemy. What's wrong with that? What do you mean what's wrong with it? It's murder. Of course it's wrong. I have my values and you have yours. Just understand that I will show no mercy to those who oppose me. If I have no use for my enemies, I will absolutely kill them. It doesn't matter if they are resisting or not. This is my sense of values cultivated within the abyss. I will not force it on you. Then we're done here. What do you mean we're done? You killed her. I can't let it go. You really are an idiot. Rimuru's cold voice interrupted Kuki. Wah. What? Aren't you the one who encouraged everyone to go to war in the first place? What did you think you would do in a war? And another thing, Hajime-kun wouldn't have had to kill her if you had. We could feel your burst of magical power when we were coming and realized that you woke up. No. I just didn't want to kill someone defenseless. I'm the hero and I have to do the right thing. I can't let you do wrong and get away with it. I won't accept you as companions like that. Rimuru remembered that Kuki said nice words for everyone to go to war, but since Kuki had no way to refute that, he just ignored it and answered the other part of his words. Kuki once again twisted the facts for his own convenience and said things that overflowed with fairness. Hajime couldn't stand this argument any longer and spoke. You can't let us get away with this, you say? I don't know if you understand, but like I said, anyone who stands in my way. Hajime shortened the distance between him and Kuki. Even Kuki, who could keep up with Shizuku the fastest of the group, didn't see Hajime coming. Kuki felt an icy metal pressed against his forehead. There was Hajime holding Donner. I'll kill him even if he's a former classmate. Hajime spoke this and released pressure and killing intent. Hajime did not direct murderous intent at some of the students like Kaori, Shizuku or Kosuke, but even those saw the reaction of the others and were scared. Hyama's gang was breaking into a cold sweat and Kuki's legs were shaking. It was as if a waterfall was falling on them. Yo. You. Kuki tried to speak something, but couldn't because of fear. Then Hajime continued. Don't get me wrong. Okay. I never thought of coming back to you guys. In fact, I'm not your companion. I only came here to save Shirasaki. It will be goodbye after we leave here. I have my own path to take. Hajime deactivated pressure and collected his weapon and shrugged his shoulders. All the students exhaled in relief and looked at Hajime with complicated expressions. However, Kuki couldn't accept it and wanted to argue some more, but before he could. That's enough, Kuki. Meld had woken up and was fully healed. Kaori gave him a summary of events and he was glad that Hajime and Rimuru were alive. Meld approached him and apologized for not being able to save Hajime in the fight against Behemoth. Hajime was a little embarrassed and said it was okay. Meld then approached Kuki and apologized. Why are you apologizing, Meld-san? For not having taught you something crucial on the battlefield. What do you mean? You taught us a lot of things. Not on any form of weapon or swordsmanship but the determination to kill someone. When the time came I thought about using bandits for that, but I ended up getting closer to more of you and kept putting it off. I was incompetent and for my mistake as an instructor. I apologize. All the classmates tried to comfort Meld and Kuki finally stopped arguing. He was thinking about Meld's words that said he would make him kill bandits. There was someone who was still silent. It was Kaori. It was not because of what Meld said, but because of Hajime's words. The sense of values cultivated in the abyss where enemies would be killed without hesitation, even a former colleague. They were words Kaori never imagined coming out of Hajime's past. Yet Hajime proved he was serious with the murderous intent he released. Kaori was puzzled by the differences between the current Hajime and the old one. She was worried that he had turned into someone else and had lost his kindness. As she was thinking, Kaori felt someone's gaze on her. She turned around and saw the beautiful blonde-haired girl looking at her. Kaori realized that this girl was very close to Hajime and stared at her curiously. Yu looked away and said, "What a disappointment." Kaori perfectly understood two words. Yu realized how close Hajime and Kaori were and thought she would have a great rival in love, but when she saw Kaori comparing Hajime to her past self she was disappointed. Kaori couldn't respond and felt defeated. After that everyone walked back to the surface. The group easily killed the magical beasts that tried to attack them, which made the students even more impressed. Halfway up Suzu tried to ask several questions about what had happened to Hajime and Rimuru, but the group just ignored her. The Hayama gang was staring at Hajime with envious eyes because of his strength and also because of how close he was to Yu. The gang tried to talk to Shia with wishful expressions, but she just ignored them. Hayama then angrily tried to grab her rabbit ears, but was met with rubber bullets from Hajime who also applied pressure. After that they didn't try anything else. Nobody tried to talk to Yu or Sakura because they were very intimate. Nagayama's gang was feeling guilty. They pretended not to see when Hajime was bullied by Hayama and his gang. So they felt that they couldn't complain if Hajime didn't treat them as comrades anymore. Some of them asked Rimuru if he would return, but he replied that he would go along with his brother, Kaori remained thoughtful the whole way and they finally reached the surface. Just as they were leaving the Orcus dungeon. Ah, Papa. Myu. Myu came running and jumped at Hajime. Hajime carefully picked her up and lifted her onto his lap. Myu, don't do that anymore. It's dangerous. Sorry. A little girl appeared calling Hajime her father. The students were confused. How can he be a father? They thought, and Rimuru explained them so as not to cause misunderstandings. While Rimuru was explaining, Hajime was talking to Myu. Where is Tio? She is. I am here. I was taking care of some rough men. Ah. I see. Where are these suicides? Hajime was looking brutal, but Tio warned him that he had already taken care of them. At this moment Rimuru finished his explanation and interrupted. Tio-san, where is? Ah. She said she would have a surprise for you when she returned. A surprise? I'll wait then. Rimuru was about to ask about Chloe, but Tio guessed and answered him before he finished. Rimuru was left wondering what the surprise could be, and this moment someone who had not heard Rimuru's explanation about Myu arrived. It was Kaori. Hajime-kun. What does that mean? Is she your daughter? Who's the mother? You-san? Shia-san? Or is it that black-haired woman? There are others. How many did you get pregnant with? Answer me, Hajime-kun. Apparently the shock of seeing Hajime with a daughter was so great for Kaori that she didn't even listen to Rimuru's explanation. She grabbed Hajime by the collar and he was trying to explain that it was a misunderstanding along with Shizuku, who was pulling her along while saying, Kaori, calm down. You know there's no way she's his daughter. After that Kaori was embarrassed as she realized what she was saying. Hajime and Rimuru's group went to the entrance of the town to wait for Chloe. Kaori followed them, still thinking about what to do, and the other students went along with her. Kaori had to choose between staying or going with Hajime and didn't know what to do. When they arrived at the entrance, some mercenary friends that Tio had beaten up came to talk to them. The mercenaries wanted Hajime to leave Shia and Myu in exchange for them not killing him. Hajime obviously wouldn't do that, so he beat the men and then lined them up. Hajime shot each of the men in the token and everyone was startled. Hajime-san is really overprotective of Myu-chan. Shia commented after watching. Yes, but it was also because of Shia. You-san, is it serious? HMHM. Hajime-san. Shia jumped up and hugged Hajime's arm happily. You hugged her other arm and Tio let out a perverted statement only to be punished with a slap from Hajime. Kaori, seeing the girls so happy around Hajime, realized something. Hajime would not hesitate to use violence, but she finally realized why Hajime would do that. It was to protect the people around him. Hajime had lost an eye, an arm, and his hair had turned white. He must have gone through something terrible for this to happen. His mind and soul must have been near the edge many times or even exceeded it. Yet he was still kind and would do anything to make the people around him smile. Why was I hesitating? Kaori thought. There was Hajime, whom she had been looking for all this time. There was no reason to hesitate. She walked towards Hajime. Hajime went towards Kaori because he saw that she wanted to say something. Hajime noticed Kaori's reaction about him killing someone without hesitation and also about him threatening Kuki. However, he didn't blame her for being frightened by the changes. He knew that he had indeed changed, and if Kaori called him murderer, he would not be angry. Hajime-kun. Can I come with you? No. I will definitely go with you. Then take care of me from now on. Eh? Hajime let out a confused groan at Kaori's words and she took a deep breath and continued. I love you. Shirasaki. Hajime, seeing Kaori's determined face, had to reconsider his feelings. She certainly was someone important to him. Very important. He might love her, but he wasn't sure. So first he had to confirm something. I have someone I love and I can't leave her. Can you accept that? He had to think about his feelings about Kaori, but if she didn't accept that Hajime also loves you, he certainly wouldn't accept her. Kaori seemed to expect this answer and spoke. I know. It's you-san, right? Yes. I'm not leaving her for anyone. Do you want to stay with me anyway? Kaori thought for a moment and spoke. Yes. I don't care. Even if Hajime-kun has another beloved, I still want to stay together with you. My love won't lose to anyone. I see. You, do you mind? Yu denied with her head. She saw that Kaori really loved Hajime, and if she wanted to go along, Yu would not refuse. Even if Hajime said that Kaori was someone special too, You wouldn't mind. She just looked at Kaori with a determined look. It was as if she was saying, "Get ready, my new rival." Hajime, after confirming with Yu, approached Kaori. He placed his hand on her cheek. "Shirasaki. No, Kaori. You always cared for me above all else, and I care for you too. You were the one who wanted to protect me. The one who tried to jump into the abyss to save me, and I will never forget that. You are much more important to me than other people." "You? Me?" Kaori's eyes sparkled with anticipation. Hajime moved closer and their faces were inches apart. Hajime finally realized how he feels about Kaori. "You are a special person to me, and I love you too." He said this, put his other hand on her waist, and kissed her. Ch 35. The Unbearable Kuki. Kaori already had tears of happiness streaming down her face as she kissed Hajime. She was really happy that her first kiss was with someone she loved. Their lips parted and Hajime spoke. "So, I think it will be good to have you with us from now on." "Yes." He spoke and released Kaori's waist. Kaori smiled happily and agreed. She put her finger to her lips, remembering the kiss from just now. Shia was complaining to Tio about Hajime accepting Kaori at first, but he didn't accept her. Tio reassured her that Kaori had known Hajime longer. Yu also stroked her head and said, "Do your best," and then she perked up and said determinedly, "One day I'll still get Hajime-san by the way." Yu had already decided that Kaori would be her new rival and was getting ready. The students were having mixed reactions. Nagayama's group and the girls took it well and were sending kind looks. However, Kuki, who was like a dense protagonist from some bum anime, did not accept this. "Wait. What do you mean? Kaori likes Nagumo. Why did they kiss? Huh? What do you mean she loves him? What does that mean? How did we come to this so suddenly? Nagumo. What have you done with Kaori? What the hell, man?" Kuki couldn't accept the reality of Kaori loving Hajime and exploded with anger at seeing them kissing. Kuki used his supreme skill, convenient interpretation, and defined that Hajime was forcing Kaori somehow. Hajime, seeing the way his mind worked, could only let out words of surprise. Seeing that Kuki was reaching for his sword, Shizuku tried to calm him down. "Kuki, calm down. Obviously Nagumo-kun didn't do anything. You may not have realized it, but Kaori has been in love with him for a while now. Since the time we were in Japan. Think about how well she treated him. That's only because Kaori was kind, isn't it? There's no way she could be in love with a worthless otaku like Nagumo." Noticing the commotion of the group, Kaori stopped daydreaming after the kiss and moved closer. "Guys, I'm going with Hajime-kun anyway. Then I'm leaving the group. I'm sorry, and Kuki-kun, I'm an otaku too, so stop talking like this is a bad thing." The girls and Nagayama's group agreed easily, but Kuki did not. "It's a lie, right? This is weird after all. Kaori has always been by my side. So shouldn't it stay that way? Kaori is my childhood friend. It's natural to stand by me. Isn't it, Kaori? We may even be childhood friends, but that doesn't mean we'll be together forever, you know. That's a natural thing in life." At this moment Shizuku arrived and supported Kaori. "It's true, Kuki. Kaori is not your property and she herself should choose what she wants. So stop it." Hearing the two, Kuki was perplexed. His gaze moved towards Hajime, who was talking to the rest of his group. Hajime figured that this was something for Kaori to take care of. Kuki saw that there were two girls and a beautiful woman very close to Hajime. His eyes began to change and Kuki felt dark feelings. For the first time he felt envy. So he once again interpreted everything for his own convenience. "Kaori, you should not go with him. Just look at him. He is surrounded by several girls and even a child. Besides, he even put a slave necklace on the demi-human girl. Even that black-haired woman called him master. She must have been forced to call him that. Nagumo is collecting girls. He is the worst. He easily killed someone, and he doesn't want to cooperate with us, his comrades. Kaori, you will only be unhappy with him. So even if you hate me, I will stop you for your own good. You absolutely will not go with him." The absurd objection baffled all his colleagues. Kuki was super annoyed and ignored the disapproving looks of his colleagues. At this moment a voice broke the silence. "And you think you are who to stop her? You sound like some third-rate vile talking. If you try to force her, neither Hajime-kun nor I will stand still." Rimuru spoke up. Rimuru didn't like it one bit that Kuki wanted to force Kaori, who was Rimuru's friend, to do something she didn't want to do. However, that only angered Kuki even more. He knew he couldn't beat Rimuru, so he turned his gaze to Hajime. He seemed to have thought of something. If Kaori sees how badly girls are treated, she might give up on him, was his thought. You girls. There is no need for you to stay with him. I will take you in and we will save the world together. Shia. I will take off your slave necklace, don't worry. Tio doesn't need to call him master either. Come with me. Kuki reached out to the girls and gave a smile. Kaori was covering her open mouth in surprise. She didn't understand how Kuki came to the conclusion that the girls were forced to stay with Hajime. The other classmates had similar reactions. Quote. That guy is disgusting. I don't like guys like him. You said nothing. Shia and Tio disgusted Kuki and hid behind Hajime. Kuki was shocked that the girls were not won over by his smile. Not only that, but they hid behind Hajime, whom they should hate since he was forcing himself on them. Kuki turned his surprise into anger and spoke. Nagumo. Duel with me without weapons. If I win, never come near Kaori again. You must free the girls too. Who? That's a more plotting hero than I imagined. He doesn't even realize he's being a pain in the ass. Kuki drove his sword into the ground and set off on Hajime. He knew he wouldn't win if Hajime used weapons, so he proposed unarmed combat. Kuki didn't even wait for Hajime to agree and walked towards him. Hajime just stood there and Kuki thought that he couldn't react. Kuki increased his speed and just as he was about to catch up to Hajime. Ku. He received a kick from Hajime and was thrown far away without even reacting. Kuki let a groan of pain escape and crashed to the ground. He couldn't move and kept trying to get up, but failed. Shizuku helped Kuki to his feet and he stood leaning on her. Kuki looked in Hajime's direction with anger and envy in his eyes. Hajime looked at him with contempt and spoke. Amanogawa. If you come again, I won't hold back. You've already been defeated and you won't force Kaori into anything. If you try to do anything to her or anyone in my group, I'll be sure to use my weapons. Not that I need them to kill you. Quote. Kuki couldn't say anything as Hajime released pressure. He just stood silently watching Hajime angrily. Kaori approached Kuki and spoke. Kuki-kun. I want to and will go with Hajime-kun. You won't stop me just because you are my childhood friend. So this is goodbye. No. You can't go with him. You'll only be miserable with him. Don't you see that he is an evil person? Kuki was being driven by anger and kept talking nonsense, so. Tap. Kaori slapped Kuki, which shut him up. Kuki-kun, you are an important friend to me. So don't make me stop liking you. She spoke and turned away. Kaori thought that there was no reason for further conversation. Kuki could say no more and just stared at Kaori. However, the troubles were not over. That was because Hayama's gang also tried to convince Kaori to stay. Hayama specifically had a troubled look on his face. Kaori, who didn't like them one bit, just snorted and ignored them. Then Hayama, who was clearly obsessed, tried to grab Kaori's arm. Before he could grab Kaori, her arm was held and her wrist was crushed. Who did that? It was Hajime. All the students were confused as to why Hayama was trying to grab Kaori and didn't even care about his injury. Hajime let go of Hayama's arm and said as if nothing had happened. Hey, Hayama, how's your fire magic? What? Hayama was confused, but his expression was in shock after he understood what Hajime was saying. Hajime, seeing his reaction, confirmed his suspicions. I don't use fire magic. My magic is wind magic. I see. You know what I think. That you like to throw fireballs at defenseless people. Now I think you better go heal that broken wrist. Hayama cannot answer and slowly walked over to the secondary healer. The rest of the gang also went along as they were scared after seeing Hayama have a broken wrist. Kaori was about to get her things from the inn when Rimuru-san, over here. Everyone heard a familiar voice and turned in her direction. For the students there was the goddess. For Rimuru there was his bride. Chloe. Rimuru called out and felt a pressure coming from the students. How dare you call the goddess so casually? Their stares said, but Rimuru just ignored it. He walked over to Chloe, who was running up to him happily, and kissed her. Mochu. Exclamation mark exclamation mark exclamation mark exclamation mark exclamation mark exclamation mark You could see exclamation points in the heads of all the students, including Kaori and Shizuku. Tio-san told me you had a surprise for me. Her lips parted and Rimuru asked. Chloe smiled happily and took out a small styrofoam box from her treasure chest. This box was normally used to put food in. Here Rimuru-san. I made it with all my love. Hey. Rimuru opened the box and. What? Inside there was. Sushi. He never imagined seeing that in this world, so he let out a cry of surprise. Chloe explained to him that before coming to this world she had taken Japanese cooking classes to cook for Rimuru someday. Then I saw a store that sold the necessary ingredients and decided to make it for Rimuru-san. She finished like this. Did you like it? There's no way I could love you more. Hey. Chloe gave an embarrassed laugh and at this moment. What's going on here? Shizuku asked and all the students looked as confused as she was. The boys actually looked indignant. Actually Kaori and Shizuku didn't tell anyone that Chloe was engaged because they thought that the reaction of the students who were in love with her would be funny. However, they never imagined that Rimuru would be Chloe's fiancé. So Shizuku was thinking that Chloe was cheating on her fiancé with Rimuru. The boy students were also boiling with jealousy and looking at Rimuru in a creepy way. Upon hearing Shizuku's scream, the students regained their senses and began to complain. Hey, Rimuru is harassing Chloe-san. We can't allow that. Rimuru, stay away from Chloe-san. What do you think you're doing? You bastard. Chloe-san. Leave it to us to punish him. You can stay away from him. That's right. Don't worry, we won't let him do anything. You can walk away. Apparently the students couldn't accept that Chloe had a beloved and thought that Rimuru was threatening Chloe. They also wanted her to get away from Rimuru as soon as possible, but Chloe's words shut them up. Hey, why do I have to stay away from Rimuru-san? It's only natural for me to stay close to my fiancé. Crack. The hearts of all the boys were shattered. They fell down defeated and said nothing. Their goddess had a beloved. Not only that, but they were already engaged and this reality was too much for them. Wait a minute. Rimuru-kun is the fiancé you told us about. Yes, that's right. Kaori asked and Chloe agreed, kissing Rimuru once again. Kaori and Shizuku were stunned. They never imagined that one of their classmates was the fiancé Chloe was talking so passionately about. There was one more person who was outraged by this information. It was someone who was trying to prove himself a better hero than Chloe. Kuki. What do you mean? How can you be his fiancé? What kind of hero loves someone like that? Did you know he killed someone helpless? The other students were also supporting Kuki, but it was only by jealousy. The students were trying to get Chloe away from Rimuru and Kuki wanted to prove himself a better hero than Chloe who saved him earlier. To the people who were using the argument that Rimuru was not suitable because he killed someone, Chloe just replied. And what's the big deal? I don't care about that. For starters, I killed that white-haired woman to save you guys, remember? The Reaper. But she was a monster. One of the students commented, and the others agreed. Chloe then explained that the Reaper was not a monster. She thought and could even talk. So killing her was really murder. The students realized that Chloe had really killed someone to save them and said nothing more. Only Kuki was still indignant. But you did it to save us. Rimuru killed someone helpless. How can you love someone like that? Hey Kuki, enough of this. We've talked about this. Shizuku tried to calm him down, but he just spoke. I just want an explanation. If she's a hero, she has to be fair. I want to know what's wrong with her. What's her problem? Quote. Rimuru interrupted Kuki in a low voice, but one that shut everyone up. That's because the pressure coming off Rimuru was abnormal. Rimuru let go of Chloe's hand and shortened the distance between him and Kuki. He grabbed Kuki by the neck and released. True dragon hockey. All the students fell to the ground in fear and their faces were pale. They were sweating cold and holding their breaths. This pressure was much greater than the pressure coming off Hajime. Listen here, you fucking hero. I put up with a lot from you, but I'm not going to stand by and listen to you teach that Chloe has some mental problem. Who do you think you are? Just because she doesn't have the same twisted values as you, doesn't mean she's a worse hero than you. Rimuru didn't like Kuki one bit that he was offending Chloe. Chloe was Rimuru's beloved, and even if she didn't mind that, he hated to see others offending her. Especially Kuki, who was talking as if she was a terrible heroine. Normally Rimuru wouldn't let his anger explode, but Kuki had already pissed off a lot today, and offending Chloe was the last straw. Quote. No one could say anything because of Rimuru's overwhelming pressure. If Hajime's pressure was like a waterfall, Rimuru's was a tsunami. If normal people or even strong people felt this pressure, they would have fainted on the spot. The students could only stand it because they were super cheated. Next time I won't let it go just for a scare. Rimuru let go of Kuki and deactivated his haki. All the students exhaled and felt relieved. Shizuku realized that Rimuru was overprotective, but she didn't say anything. Instead, she commented on something else. Rimuru-kun, so what is your relationship with Sakura, if I'm not mistaken? She said, and pointed to the pink-haired girl who was extremely close to Rimuru and several times was clinging to her arm. Rimuru looked at Sakura and spoke. Ah, Sakura. Well, she is. As usual, Rimuru was half embarrassed to say that he had two brides. She is Rimuru-san's fiancé too. Chloe finished her sentence for Rimuru. All the students were perplexed, but they didn't cast any negative glances at Rimuru, as they were too afraid to do so. Is that true? Yes, she is my fiancé too. Shizuku looked confused and Rimuru confirmed it. As he said that, he grabbed Sakura's waist next to him. Shizuku was speechless, so Kaori parented at Chloe. And Chloe is okay with that. I don't mind. Chloe replied lightly and hugged Rimuru's free arm. The students had already greatly changed their opinion of Rimuru and Hajime. They were blood brothers and harem brothers. This left an impression of envy in the boys and curiosity in the girls. I guess my common sense has blown up. Well, at least I'm glad everything worked out for you, Kaori. Shizuku spoke, changing the subject, and congratulated Kaori on her new relationship. Now Shizuku and Kaori understood why no one in Hajime and Rimuru's group cared about Hajime having two girlfriends. It was already a common thing for them. Kaori thanked them and asked. Thank you. By the way, Shizuku-chan, how long are you going to carry this around for? She was referring to Shizuku's sword that broke during the fight against the demons. That. I think I'll take it to some blacksmith. The kingdom must. Ah, I almost forgot. Shizuku was interrupted by Rimuru, who remembered something. Rimuru approached Shizuku and held out his hand. Shizuku-chan, this is yours. Rimuru pulled out a black katana from his infinite space and handed it to Shizuku. That's. You said you couldn't fight well with a normal sword, right? So I made this one for you. I'm sure you won't find anything better. Rimuru couldn't make swords as good as his smiths Kaijin and Kurobi, but he did the best he could. This sword evolved along with Shizuku and had 3 magic stones in the handle. One of them healed Shizuku, the other launched a black lightning attack from a distance, and the other allowed Shizuku to control the katana from afar. As Rimuru explained the functions, Shizuku looked amazed. When he finished explaining. Are you sure I should keep this? That sword must be the strongest in the kingdom. I know Shizuku-chan will take good care of it. Oh. Okay. Thank you. She looked a little embarrassed to receive a gift from Rimuru. Chloe, who was standing next to Rimuru, asked. Shizuku-chan, are you okay? You look feverish, your cheeks are reddened. Oh, no, I'm fine. Yes, completely fine. She was still red and desperately trying to speak that she was fine. Chloe thought this was a little strange, but said nothing. At this moment Kaori went to get her bags. Hayama tried to follow her, but Hajime stopped him. Hajime didn't tell his classmates about what Hayama did, because he had no proof and that would only lead to more discussion. Hajime had no interest in revenge, and now that Kaori would be with them, he had no reason to worry about Hayama. Kaori returned with her bags and was saying goodbye to Shizuku. Kaori, send letters whenever possible. Did you get your toothbrush? Did you get enough clothes? Did you get enough panties? Stop it. Shizuku-chan is sounding like my mother. And why did you ask me about my panties specifically? Good. Now that you have a boyfriend, you never know how many you'll need. You know what I mean. That's embarrassing. Kaori got into the car while blushing, and Shizuku finished with, take care of yourself. At this moment Rimuru said goodbye. Bye Shizuku-chan. Take care, and take care of the others. You are one of the few sensible ones in this class. Well, I can't deny that. Hun, you take care of yourself too. Shizuku was red again. Rimuru put his hand on her forehead while making a curious expression. What the? It doesn't seem to be a fever at all. Well, be careful, I don't want Shizuku-chan to get sick. By the way, I have one more thing for you. Rimuru took out a letter and handed it to Shizuku. This letter contains some tips that would help Shizuku, such as: don't try to overpower the dungeon, it has over 300 and is dangerous. Talk to Sensei when she comes back, she will have important things to tell you. Be careful with Hayama and Eri. Many of these things it was Seal who had Rimuru write and he didn't even know why, like why be careful with Eri. Open it only after I go and I think it's better you don't show the others. Bye. See you next time. At this moment Cho came to say goodbye. Shizuku-chan, take care and don't overdo the training. I don't want a good friend to get hurt. Nah. No need to worry. Shizuku strangely was still blushing and Chloe was confused. Chloe took something out of her treasure chest and gave it to Shizuku. Here. I'll give some to Shizuku-chan too. Sushi. Yes. I thought Shizuku-chan would like it. Well, I'll be going. Bye. Chloe got into the car. Shizuku stood watching the car drive away and then just turned thoughtfully as she hugged her new sword. She certainly wasn't thinking about the person who gave her the sword while she was doing this. Okay. Kuki also watched the car drive away with a somber expression. Filled circle, filled circle, filled circle. On the evening of the same day they had two people on a bridge. Kuki was leaning on the railing looking at the reflection of the moon in the water and Shizuku was propped up on her back on the railing while looking at the moon. Is there something you want to say? Quote. Shizuku asked and Kuki did not answer. Kuki couldn't pay attention. He could only remember the spectacle of Kaori confessing to Hajime without a trace of a lie. Just happiness and the worst, that kiss. Kuki could not forget the kiss. Kuki and Kaori had been friends for 10 years and he had never seen her make such a happy expression as after the kiss. When he remembered that expression Kuki felt dark and heavy feelings spreading through his mind. Without any basis Kuki thought those feelings were normal to feel. He thought they had taken Kaori from him. He thought Kaori was his. Kuki was feeling envious. Kuki didn't know if it was out of love or a desire to monopolize her, but the feeling of theft was blatant. Shizuku, who looking at her friend had an atmosphere of, there's nothing to be done. She then spoke. Right now, you're being a pain in the ass. A pain in the ass. Yes. About Kaori. From the beginning she wasn't yours, you know. So she was Nagumo's. Kuki's eyes were denying and cursing that. Shizuku moved closer and gave his forehead a nip. That hurts. Kaori is her own. She should choose where and with whom she should stay. If she wants to stay with Nagumo-kun and he doesn't bother, then it's okay. Since when did she? You must know, right? Shizuku nodded in agreement. She told me that something happened back in elementary school. I'm not sure what it was. That's something you should ask Kaori herself. So the reason Kaori always talked to Nagumo. Was because she loved him. Correct. Quote. Shizuku said what Kuki didn't want to hear and he cast a disapproving glance. She just ignored and Kuki spoke angrily. Quote. Why Nagumo? He was always unmotivated and not special at all and in sports or studies. He always took the evasive approach when Kaori came to talk to him and treated her coldly. I always thought of her as someone important and would treat her well. Nagumo already had several girls and treated them badly. He will do the same to Kaori. He is the worst. Not only that, but he is a murderer. He killed someone defenseless. How can Kaori like a bastard like that? He must surely. Tap. Kuki began to slander Hajime and this caused him to be offset by another tappa. Shizuku then spoke up. You are once again interpreting everything for your own convenience. Interpreting things for my convenience. No way. Haven't you noticed? You don't know anything about Nagumo-kun, do you? Not even when we were in Japan and not even now. Those girls were really happy with him. Yet you are trying to make him look like someone bad who is unsuitable for Kaori. Certainly he is different, but at least Kaori wants to be with him, so something about him hasn't changed, but one thing you mustn't forget. He fought that woman to save us. So you are saying it is right to kill. I don't know, but if we were strong enough we could have made the choice. He's the one who fought and he's the one who decides. Kuki still didn't look convinced. Then Shizuku continued. Kuki, I don't hate your sense of justice, but it's time to question whether you are right. Doubting my justice? Yes. If you don't do that, you will continue to move on blindly. So I want you to ask yourself if you are right. If you think you are always right, your integrity will become a lethal weapon. For example, now you are not being driven by justice, but by jealousy. Nah. Not for one to feel envious. It is unpleasant to lie to me here, do you understand? Quote. Kuki. It's only up to you to change. Shizuku thought she had said all she wanted to and started to walk away. Before she left the bridge, Kuki called out to her. Shizuku, you're not going to leave me, are you? What is it now? Please don't go. Quote. Shizuku couldn't answer because of a person who had been stirring her heart lately. A certain blue-haired boy who always helped her in her weak moments. Shizuku just kept walking and left without answering.